FRM Part 1, Quantitative Analysis. The next same statement is linear regression with one regressor. Under the same statement, first we will explain how the regression analysis in econometrics measures the relationship between the dependent and independent variables. Then we look at the population regression function, understand it, the regression coefficients, parameters, slope and intercept. Then we look at the stochastic error term in this regression. Then we define and interpret a sample regression function, its regression coefficient, parameters, slope and intercept on the same lines as the population regression function. Then we look at the key properties of linear regression. And now for the estimation of coefficients, we look at the three key assumptions of ordinary least square method. Then we summarize the benefits of using OLS estimators. We also look at the properties of OLS estimators and their sampling distributions. We'll also look at the properties of consistent estimators in general. Then we define and interpret the explained sum of squares, the total sum of squares and the residual sum of squares. And finally the standard error of regression, or we also call it standard error of estimates, and the regression coefficient of determination, which is R square. And finally we understand the interpretation of the results using OLS regression. So let us start with the basics of correlation. So before getting into regression, let us look at the correlation. If there are two variables x and y and we want to know whether there is a relationship between these two or not, we will start with scatter plot. So we are exploring whether there is a relationship between the two variables x and y. So we are just plotting them. So corresponding to this particular value of x, this particular value is for y. So we have x on this axis, y on the vertical axis, and we have various values of x and y corresponding to each other. So if these are the values, it does not indicate any relationship, because we have seen that for lower values of x, we have higher values of y and even lower values of y. Similarly, for higher values of x, we have lower values of y as well as higher values of y. So we do not see any relationship between x and y using this scatter plot. We are not able to observe it. So probably there is no relationship. On the other hand, if we see this kind of scatter plot between x and y, it indicates that there is a linear relationship between them. Although it does not accurately point that relationship, it does not accurately plot the line as such, but it indicates that there is a linear relationship. There might be some outlier somewhere here and somewhere here, which could be ignored because most of the points are lying around this line. So it indicates a positive relationship. Similarly, there could be even a negative relationship. So then we again see a systematic plots around a particular line for x and y. So this is how we get an idea about the relationship between two variables using scatter plot. Let us get into the basic details. The properties of correlation coefficient. This is the parameter which measures the strength of linear relationship, how strongly linearly related two variables are. It does not capture if there is any non-linear relationship. Suppose there is a non-linear relationship like this between two variables, it will not be captured by this regression correlation coefficient. It will only capture the extent of linear relationship. So that value is between -1 and +1. If it is positive, we call it positively correlated. If it is negative, we call two variables negatively correlated. If rho is equal to 0, we call that two variables are uncorrelated. So if it is positive and +1, we call it perfectly positively correlated. If it is -1, we call it perfectly negatively correlated, and so on. So if the correlation coefficient is 0 and covariance between them is obviously 0, then they are assumed to be independent of each other. There is no relationship between them. And it is clear that correlation does not have any units. Correlation coefficient, you should say correlation coefficient does not have any units, whereas the covariance is going to have units. Now let us see these plots. This is scatter plot of y1 and y2. It clearly indicates a perfectly positively correlation between them, or a relationship which is perfectly positively related. Rho or r is +1. In this case, r is -1. These two variables are perfectly negatively correlated, and r is 0, that these two variables have independent values. They are not related to each other, or there is no linear relationship between them. Now this compares the extent of positive relationship. In this scatter plot, we observe that there is some positive linear relationship, but not very precise. So if we calculate the value, it will come out to be 0.3. Here we observe that the linear relationship is more strong in this case. So it is 0.7, and this is perfectly positively correlated. The value of correlation coefficient r, or we also call it rho, it is +1. Now once we have established that there is a relationship between two variables, now we need to find out what that linear relationship is, and for that we have regression analysis as a tool. So let us start with regression. So we are going to have two variables. One is dependent variable, another is independent variable. Since we are talking about single regressor now, we are going to have only one independent variable in this case, and dependent variable is always 1. So we might have y is a function of x1, x2, x3, many and so on, many dependent variables. These are many independent variables. Y is the dependent variable here. It depends on x1, x2 and x3. Since we are talking about single regressor, we have only one independent variable, and dependent variable is always 1. The dependent variable is also called the explained variable, and this is called explanatory variable, because this variable is going to explain y. X is explaining y, so y is explained, x is explanatory, or x is independent, y is dependent. Then we have three kinds of data. One is a cross-sectional data, time series data, and the pool data. So what is the cross-sectional data? When at one point in time we are measuring different variables x, y, z and their relationship at one point in time, then it is called cross-sectional data. And when we are looking at different periods t1, t2, t3 and studying a single variable, how it is changing over the time, that is called time series analysis. And pool data is nothing but the combination of both the cross-sectional data and time series data. Then for regression analysis, we have linear regression model, which is going to look at the linear relationship between two variables. So when you are talking about the single regressor, we will have this kind of relationship ax plus b, what we are trying to explore. X is our independent variable, y is dependent variable, a is our slope coefficient and b is intercept coefficient. So this is a linear relationship which we are trying to establish, and through regression we will find out what is the variable of these, what are the values of these variables. For that we are going to estimate using certain estimators. So here we are talking about the whole population. So we can represent it like this also. Vi is our dependent variable, b0 is the intercept coefficient, beta 1 is slope coefficient, xi is independent variable, and ui is the error term. The independent variable xi is also called the regressor. So we have single regressor here. b0 plus beta 1, beta 0 plus beta 1 into xi is the population regression line. If we are eliminating the error term, this is population regression line with this intercept beta naught and slope beta 1, which are coefficient. So if this is a scatter plot, this is the line, and this beta naught plus beta 1 xi represent the population regression line. So this line represents a linear relationship, although there is going to be some error term because all of the elements are not going to lie on this line. So there is inevitably an error. We also call this error as stochastic term. We call stochastic error term UI, which differentiates the statistical model from pure mathematical model. So when we talk about pure mathematical model, we do not have any error term. As we know that in economics or finance, the relationship between any two variables are not exact or not deterministic. They are rather stochastic. So inevitably there is going to be one random error term which is going to be different in mathematical model and statistical model. So only difference is due to this error. During regression, one other thing which we need to be very careful about is the relationship of correlation and causation. So when we say x and y are two variables which are correlated, that does not include that one is causing the other. X is causing y is different from saying that x and y are correlated because of the confounding variable. When x and y are correlated, they might have a relationship directly with each other, or there might be a third variable, a confounding variable, which is related to both x and y, and which is the real reason behind their correlation, and they are not causing each other. They might be totally unrelated. So if we take an example to understand it, the people dying with heat waves and the sales of ice creams in a city are highly correlated, but there is no direct causation between them, because in this case the rising temperature in the summer is the confounding variable that is related to both the deaths causing due to heat wave and the ice cream sales. That is a confounding variable which is driving these variables x and y. There is no causality between these two. So we need to be very careful that high positive or negative correlation does not indicate any causation. There have to be separate tests for that. Now let us get into details of this regression analysis. We have two regression functions, the population regression function and sample regression function. Under population regression function, we have all the elements, all the values of these variables. We have I equal to 1 to n for both x and y. So we have x1 corresponding y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and all the values in the population. And now we have to establish a relationship, a linear relationship between these two. So we are going to use population regression function. But there might be a case where we do not have access to all the elements in the population. We have only taken a sample from the population. We have a few values of x and y which are corresponding to each other and not all the values of population. And from that we are trying to estimate the linear relationship between these two variables. So automatically the population regression function is going to be more stable because it includes all the elements of x and y. So here we have yi, beta naught, beta 1, xi, ui is the random stochastic term. While if we talk about the sample regression function, that is going to vary with the sample. We have different samples from the same population. Each sample is going to have different elements. So naturally the value of the coefficients which we are going to estimate, the slope coefficient and the intercept coefficient, are going to be different. So that is why our sample regression function might be different. So there is no single correct sample regression function, and we represent SRF differently from PRF. For sample we use small letters. So B naught is the intercept coefficient, P1 is the slope coefficient, and small ei is the residual term for the sample. So this is how the representation is also different. Let us move to the next slide. the properties of regression. So the first and important property is the regression is linear in parameters, but it could be non-linear in variables. So we need to be very careful when we state that. Suppose this is our linear relationship. This is the term. So we are claiming here that beta naught and beta 1 are going to be linear. We are not going to have any power in them, but x may be square root of x1 or something like that, or x square. So variable could be non-linear, but parameters should be linear. That is what we are talking here. This is the assumption of regression. Another assumption in the linear regression is the expected value of the error term is going to be 0. So this term ui, its expected value should be 0. So it might be positive or negative for one term or the other, but overall estimation should be 0. Then the next important property of linear regression is that homoscedasticity. This is another assumption. Homoscedasticity means the variance of the error is going to be constant everywhere. So it is the constant variance of error. So if we look at the scatter plot, suppose this is the scatter plot and this is our line, population regression line, and this is the value of beta naught, this is the slope is beta 1. Now these are the error terms, because there are some points which are not lying on the line, they are far from the line. So if the average is 0 and the variance of the error is same everywhere, it is not that there are clusters. If there are clusters of elements at different places, that represents a heteroscedastic situation. That says the variance of error is not constant everywhere. But in the linear regression, we are assuming that the error is homoscedastic or it has a constant variance everywhere. The next assumption is that the error term is normally distributed. That is another assumption. The error term is normally distributed. Then there should not be no serial or autocorrelation in the error terms. One error term should be independent of the other error term. They should not be correlated to each other. The next important assumption is the independent variables, which is in this case x, should not be correlated with the error term. So they should be independent of each other. So we can take a case if the x is related with ui or the error term, that says there is some part of y which has not been explained by x, which is going in the error term. They should not be related actually for linear regression. Now let us look at the estimation of the coefficient. How do we estimate these coefficient? We are going to use ordinary least square estimator. That is the most basic way of calculating the coefficients. It is most commonly used. It is unbiased and these estimators provide consistent input. We call it unbiased because it is average or expected value is equal to the true value. The OLS estimators are also the efficient estimators because it is unbiased and its variance within the class of all such linear estimators is the minimum. So it is efficient because it is minimum variance unbiased estimator. That is why we call it efficient. And what is the meaning of ordinary least square? What we are trying to do here? So when we are trying to calculate this line, we are estimating this line, we are calculating these error terms, taking the square of the error term so that we are not compensating the positive error with the negative error. We are just squaring them up. And then we sum it up and try to minimize that error so that overall sum of square of error is minimum, we choose that line. So this is ordinary least square estimator. So here we are trying to minimize the sum of squares of the error, or if we can write mathematically, we are minimizing sum of error term square, which is nothing but the summation of the error term square. What is the error term? It is the estimated y minus actual y minus estimated y. b0 plus b1 x xi. This is the difference. Then we take the square and sum it up. This is what we have to minimize under ordinary least square technique. And while minimizing it, we can find out what is the estimated value of b0 and b1. So that will give us ordinary least square estimate of regression line. Now, how do we interpret the results? We have certain terms which we need to understand first. Let us say y bar is the average of y, those values. yi is the individual element in y, and y cap is the estimated y. So how do we interpret the results? We have explained sum of squares, which is ESS, which is nothing but the summation of y cap, which is estimated, and the average of y square. So this is how much is the deviation of the estimated y from its mean. This is called explained sum of squares. This is one term. Second important term in this results is sum of squared residuals, SSR. This is what is to be minimized. In ordinary least square estimation, this is what is to be minimized, sum of square of residuals. So we can write it as summation of squares of the error term, which is nothing but actual y and estimated y. This is what is to be minimized. This is SSR, sum of squared residuals. And finally, we have total sum of squares, which is nothing but the summation of ESS and SSR. So this represents how far our estimation is from the average, and this presents how far the real value is from the estimated value. And the total of these two would represent how far is the real value from the average. yi minus y bar square. This is TSS. Now, how do we measure how good is our regression? We have the standard error of regression, SER. We also call it standard error of estimate, SEE, which is calculated as SSR, which is sum of square of residuals, divided by n minus 2, where n is the number of elements. So degree of freedom becomes n minus 2 in this case. So we divide SSR by n minus 2 and take the square root, which gives us the standard error of regression or standard error of estimation. And finally, we have the coefficient of determination, or R square. We also call it as goodness of fit of linear regression. This tells us how much of y, the dependent variable, has been explained by independent variable x. So if I say R square is 0.8, it indicates that 80% of variation in y has been explained by x. That is what is the meaning of R square, or goodness of fit, or coefficient of determination in this case. The formula is ESS by TSS, that is explained sum of square. This is what which has been explained by a model, divided by total sum of square, or we can also write it as ESS, the explained sum of square, divided by TSS, which is the summation of the two explained sum of squares plus the SSR, or sum of residuals, squared residuals. So basically this is explained and this is residual. So explained by explained plus residual or explained by total. This is the coefficient of determination. So these were the basics of linear regression with one single regressor. Let us take a few questions here. Question number 1 says, given that the value of intercept coefficient to be 0. So let us write the equation first. Say yi is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x plus error term. So this is given to be 0 and that of independent variable to be 1. So independent variable is x, the value is 1. The value of dependent variable is going to be, so clearly yi is going to be equal to beta 1 plus if there is any random error. So it is not 1. It is not the residual term or the random term. It is the slope coefficient. So C is the right answer. It is not the intercept coefficient because that is already given to be 0. So the answer should be beta 1. Or we can also write slope coefficient plus residual term if any. But given these choices, C is the most appropriate answer. Let us look at question number 2. It says under the ordinary least square method of estimation of coefficient OLS. So these 4 options are given. Sample regression coefficients are produced. This is not true. The number of independent variables are maximized. Number of independent variables are already given. They are not maximized. The total sum of square is minimized. Not true. Sum of squares of residuals is minimized. That is right. So we minimize SSR, which is also the sum of the difference between y and y cap, the estimation and the real. So this is sum of square of residuals, which is to be minimized under OLS. Let us take the next question. Question number 3. It says the explained sum of square ESS is given to be 85.53 for a linear regression. Sum of squared residuals SSR is given to be 11.35. What is the goodness of fit of regression? So we are asked R square. We know the formula of R square. It is ESS by TSS, the total sum of squares. ESS is given to be 85.53. Total sum of square will be summation of ESS and SSR, which is 85.53 plus 11.35. So it will be 85.53 divided by 96.88. So what do we get? 0.8828. So this is what our R square should be, or we can say 88.28% of the variation in the dependent variable can be explained by independent variable in this linear regression. Let us look at the options given. So 0.8828, C is the right option here. Let us take next question. Question number 4 says, which of the following assumptions regarding linear regression function is least correct? So let us look at the assumption. The equation must be linear in coefficients. This is true. It has to be linear in coefficients. The expected value of error term is 0. Yes, expected value of error term should be 0 for linear regression. The homoscedasticity of error, that is also true. The variance of the error term should be constant. Homoscedasticity of the data error. The last one is equation must be linear in both coefficients and variables. We know that it should be linear in coefficients, but it does not need to be linear in variable. So D is least correct here. Let us take one last question. Question number 5, it says the explained sum of square ESS is given to be 85.5. The total sum of square TSS is given to be 134.5. And the number of elements are given to be 18. Find out the standard error of estimates. We need to find out SEE, which is given by the square root of SSR divided by n minus 2. So we have been given n is 18, SSR is the total sum of square minus explained sum of square. This is the sum of square of residuals. We know we can take the difference of these two. So 134.5 minus 85.5 is 49, which is SSR. N minus 2 is 16. So SEE is going to be 49 divided by 18 minus 2, that is 16. So this is going to be 7 divided by 4. So this is 1.75. So let us look at the options. Option A is correct. So that was all about the same statement.